now hear why it's important to have a modernized policy in place while we're developing an integrated strategy for radioactive waste. I'm pleased to welcome Shawn Tupper, the Associate Deputy Minister at Natural Resources Canada. Shawn has been in that role since 2018, and prior to that, he was the Assistant Secretary to the Cabinet at the Privy Council Office. Just one of an impressive list of senior roles in the government that spans over 20 years of his career. He's also a board member of Atomic Energy of Canada, which makes him knowledgeable in the nuclear spheres. Over to you, Shawn.
Thanks very much, Karen. It's a real pleasure for me to be here with you virtually to speak about radioactive waste and the government's ongoing efforts to modernize our radioactive waste policy. I'm joining you today from my home in Ottawa, which is in the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I hope that everybody's keeping safe and well. It has been a challenging year. The pandemic has caused significant loss and uncertainty here in Canada and around the world. Je tiens à rassurer tout le monde. D'abord et avant tout, la priorité du gouvernement demeure d'aider les gens et des entreprises à traverser la crise aussi longtemps qu'elle durera avec tout ce qu'il faudra. This includes vital programs to protect the health and safety of Canadians and to support households and businesses so they can stay afloat until the economy fully recovers. The government is extremely grateful for the contributions made by many of your organizations. Canada's nuclear sector has not only continued to provide reliable and essential power to Canadians without interruption, but the sector has also stepped up by donating vital personal protective equipment to hospitals and communities and helped to produce ventilators and face masks. We can also be proud of the fact that Canada's nuclear power plants are producing about 50% of the global supply of medical isotope cobalt-60, needed to sterilize the medical equipment, such as gloves and syringes, used by nurses and doctors all around the world. So, while much has changed over the past year, the importance of Canada's nuclear sector has not. Si la COVID-19 a été la plus grande menace immédiate pour les Canadiens, le gouvernement reconnaît également que le Canada ne peut pas perdre de terrain face à la menace croissante que représentent les changements climatiques pour la santé des Canadiens et pour notre économie. Amid all of this, we've seen a growing awareness that as we come out on the other side of COVID-19, we can build a more sustainable society, a more sustainable economy. That's why last December, the government released its Enhanced Climate Plan, a plan to build a better future with a healthier economy and environment, a plan that builds on efforts that are already underway and continue down the path that Canadians, governments, and businesses have all been setting. It's a key pillar in the government's commitment to create over 1 million jobs, restoring employment to pre-pandemic levels, of which climate action and clean growth are a cornerstone. And nuclear energy is an important part of our collective efforts. As many of you know, for the better part of 8 decades, Canada has been a global leader in the safe and responsible development of nuclear technologies. Nuclear is an important part of our energy mix, accounting for 15% of all of the electricity we generate in Canada. It's also important to our economy. The sector contributes about $17 billion to Canada's gross domestic product and over 76,000 jobs across the country. But it's not only important today. It's also an important part of our future and our global effort to combat a changing climate. As we noted in the Enhanced Climate Plan, the next generation of nuclear technology, including small modular reactors, will be an important tool in meeting Canada's climate commitments and achieving our target of net zero emissions by 2050. Canada is uniquely positioned to lead the way. We are part of an elite group of Tier 1 nations with the full spectrum of nuclear capabilities. Everything from our high-grade uranium, our homegrown CANDU technology, our expert operators, our world-class regulator, and leading-edge laboratories and scientists. In fact, about 1/4 of Canada's Nobel Prizes are related to nuclear science. That's the good news. We have used and continue to use our nuclear know-how to produce non-emitting power, as well as important industrial applications and life-saving equipment. But as we know, it comes with its own challenges. Among these challenges is, of course, the safe management of radioactive waste. When it comes to nuclear energy, first and foremost, the Government of Canada's priority is protecting the health and safety of Canadians and the environment. This means ensuring that all radioactive waste in Canada is managed safely for generations to come. Currently, all waste in Canada is being managed safely based on international standards at facilities that are licensed and monitored by the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. Canadians can have confidence in the safeguards in place to protect their health, safety, and well-being. And the federal government is committed to continuously improving the way waste is being managed. As part of that commitment to improve over the past year, the government has been evaluating Canada's current radioactive waste policy. We know that stakeholders and Canadians, including our industry, Indigenous leaders, and civil society organizations, are all focused on continuous improvement. In 2019, at Canada's request, the International Atomic Energy Agency, the world's leading authority on the safe, secure, and peaceful use of nuclear technology, undertook a review of Canada's existing safety regime for nuclear energy. The IAEA concluded that Canada has a comprehensive framework for nuclear and radiation safety, but also recommended that the government consider modernizing the existing radioactive waste policy framework and developing a strategy. These are some of the reasons why, in November 2020, the Government of Canada launched an inclusive engagement process to modernize Canada's radioactive waste policy. Our goal is to ensure that Canada has a strong policy in place that is based on the best available science, that aligns with international practices, and that reflects the values and priorities of Canadians. A policy that continues to position Canada as a world leader in safe and responsible management of radioactive waste. As part of our process, officials from federal departments and agencies have been engaging extensively with all Canadians that have an interest in how radioactive waste is managed, from Indigenous people, youth, environmental groups, academia, industrial experts, and any other interested parties to review and modernize our existing policy. We have an online forum where we are seeking input from all Canadians. We are holding dozens of virtual meetings and roundtables. I have had the opportunity to participate in several of these engagement sessions and have truly appreciated the views and perspectives of participants. The process is open and transparent. People have been passionate and very willing to take the time out of their busy schedules to engage on this important topic. I encourage all of you to ensure your voices are heard in the process. Equally important to a strong policy is ensuring our nuclear operators have clear plans in place for the safe, long-term management of waste they are generating. That's why, in addition to the policy review, the NWMO is working with waste owners and engaging Indigenous peoples and Canadians to ensure that a comprehensive integrated strategy is in place that meets the requirements of Canada's modernized policy. The NWMO is uniquely positioned to lead this work. Since its inception in 2002 under federal legislation, it has gained expertise in the disposal of nuclear fuel waste and, more importantly, community and Indigenous engagement. In closing, I'm encouraged by the prospects and the potential role nuclear energy can play as we rebuild our economy post the pandemic and as we transition to a net zero future. Je suis impatiente de travailler avec vous tous à élaborer des cadres stratégiques et des stratégies nécessaires pour soutenir cette transition. Je vous remercie de m'avoir donné l'occasion de m'exprimer ici aujourd'hui. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shawn. We appreciate Natural Resources Canada's perspective on the radioactive waste policy.